always want to start by saying thank you for the role you play in us communicating to our city and all of our citizens. This morning, we are gathering here to make an important announcement related to the investigation on the homicides that occurred recently involving children of our city on 17th Street. And before Deputy Chief Hampton comes to the podium, I just do want to commend every member of this police department that has worked tirelessly on this case and all of our partner agencies that have assisted us. And every case that is entrusted to the Atlanta Police Department is approached with the same sense of urgency and commitment to bring resolution to every family that has been touched by gun violence. And for those whose names we may not mention today or whose resolution we have not brought to that family, please know that as I speak, members of this department are working to bring closure and justice for your family as well. That is the commitment of the Atlanta Police Department, and the commitment you will hear about very shortly as we work to ensure that everyone receives the best services from the Atlanta Police Department. So, Chief Hampton, if you will come forward, sir, and provide us new information.
Good morning, Deputy Chief Charles Hampton, Jr. On yesterday afternoon, we were able to make 2 arrests in the homicide of Zion and Cameron that occurred on November 26th. 2 of those individuals, one was a 15-year-old and another was a 16-year-old. One of those individuals was apprehended in New York with the assistance of our fugitive team as well as the U.S. Marshals. And so, again, this case is still very active. We, again, as the Chief alluded to, we thank the media for airing the video. We ask that now we have been able to identify all individuals in the video. We have been able to identify that they are juveniles, so we're asking that the video no longer be displayed. We also know that the 2 individuals that are in custody were students at APS. Chief Applin is standing behind us. They have been very instrumental in this investigation. And again, we thank you, Chief, for your assistance in this. Again, it's a tragic situation. But as Chief said, we take these cases, all homicides, seriously. But we are pleased to announce that we were able to make arrests. And then again, there are individuals that are depicted that we still are working on, and we do believe that we will have additional charges in this case. So it's still, again, very active, and that's what we're here to announce.
Right now, can you talk about what they're being charged with, the 15-year-old versus the 16-year-old?
Both of those individuals are being charged with 2 counts of murder, aggravated assault, as well as the gang statute.
Which one of them was in New York?
The 16-year-old. Yes. The 16-year-old.
Do you know how they knew the victims, by any chance?
Again, we're not going to get into a lot of specifics in this investigation. As I said before, it's still open. And then some of the information we need to reserve for court proceedings.
Did the teens confess?
I'm sorry?
The name of the gang? Did you care to share that?
Not this time. No, I don't. I choose not to.
Did the teens confess to the crime?
Again, they were able to say that they were significantly involved. And again, I can't go into a lot of details in what was shared with us. But again, it definitely helped our investigation. And again, with the able to bring the charges of murder against them.
So during the last press conference, the lead detective said, I believe this person right here in the black and yellow is going to be my shooter, and I believe this person in the blue sweatshirt is the other shooter. So do you have the 2 shooters in custody?
We have 2 shooters in custody. And again, great question. There was an individual depicted in the video that has not been charged at this time. But we do have 2 shooters in custody for murder.
You mentioned both. The yellow and the blue, both of those are in custody?
Again, one of those individuals is in custody, and another individual, as the lead detective stated, that was not readily made known. That individual is in custody. So we have 2 individuals, 2 juveniles in custody for the murder.
You mentioned both of them were students at APS, are students at APS. The rest of the juveniles that were with them, students at APS as well, what school did they go to?
Again, we believe that some students are members of APS and then some other metro agency schools as well.
You mentioned that one person was arrested in New York. Where was the other person? Was it locally?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did he say anything about a motive?
Both of these arrests were both linked to both murders.
I'm sorry?
Both of these arrests were linked to both of the
Yes.
children's murders.
Yes.
And you expect to get more people that you're going to charge with both murders?
Yeah, this investigation is not over. I'm not sure what the additional charges will be, but again, we do anticipate additional charges coming forth. Again, this detective standing behind me is still working this case. He still has interviews that he has to conduct. But it's not over. But again, I can't say right now what those charges will be. We have to allow the investigation to dictate that. But he is still working. He's still here. But again, we anticipate additional charges to come forth.
So you
Two
know
quick
how that
questions,
team
two quick
got to
questions.
New
Did they
York?
say anything, first question, did they say anything about a motive in this case? And second question, this was a case that has made national headlines. So a lot of people saw that video with the one suspect being found in New York. Did anyone aid him into getting to New York, and would that person face any charges?
Great question. Again, we're going to hold everyone responsible for these deaths. So if it's an adults, but right now we were just able to get him in custody in New York. We have to follow up on how he made his way to New York, and so some of that takes time. And so we have to submit subpoenas to get information that we need. So that's why I keep saying this investigation is long from over, and we're still working. And again, I'll be remiss if I don't thank MARTA and their agency for their cooperation in it. Their video was extremely helpful. So I want to make sure that I definitely thank them for assisting us
Do
in
you
this
expect to
investigation as
bring
well.
that team from New York back here to Atlanta to interview him, and have you talked to the parents of the suspects about their children and what they did?
Yes. Yeah. Again, as juveniles, we are required by law before we can have any conversations with them to also communicate with the parents.
Did you speak with the parents of the victims? Did you speak with the parents of the victims? Did you call them at all about the arrest?
Yes, the lead detective has been in contact with both mothers.
Last
You say
question,
anything-
is it, when you say New York, you mean New York City, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it accurate to say our 12-year-old victim is associated with these two suspects, that they knew one another, that they were together, as you all have stated in a past news conference?
Again, we believe that they have known each other. Again, what we do know is that on the date of the incident, they were not traveling together. But we do know that there has been some past relationship, some affiliations.
Say anything about the
Thank you,
motive, anything
everyone.
about the motive.
Thank you.
Again,
Thank you.
All right, you just heard right there some significant updates coming in from Atlanta Police Department regarding an investigation, a homicide investigation that has really captured national attention. A lot of communities here in Atlanta and across Georgia. I want to recap some of what was said. I know a few of you jumped in a little later asking, what's going on. Let's start with exactly what happened on November 26th. I'm going to walk you through that. I'm going to play you that video that Atlanta Police Department was just referring to here off of our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. This is that surveillance video that Atlanta Police Department shared with us last week and the public, asking for any information on the suspects in this investigation. Describing the two individuals as wearing a yellow and black hoodie and a blue hoodie with white writing on it. And since then, that has led to two arrests now, a 15-year-old arrested and a 16-year-old apprehended in New York and facing charges, those charges being 2 counts of murder, as well as gang-related charges, as was mentioned, and aggravated assault charges. Now, it's not clear which of these individuals are facing which charges. That wasn't specified, but between those two arrests, those are the charges that are being presented. A couple of other updates mentioned by Atlanta Police. This investigation is ongoing. They did touch upon the third person that was seen in that video surveillance that we just showed you, saying that they are not currently facing charges. They are not actively in custody with Atlanta Police, but that the investigation continues into the deaths of these two teens, 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, who lost their lives on November 26th due to this altercation. So a little bit of context for you there. I wanted to track back to what exactly took place on that day. This all started when a group of teenagers, and this is all according to Atlanta police, were escorted off of Atlantic Station property for allegedly violating its curfew. Now the group then reportedly moved to 17th Street, making their way near the Interstate 75 overpass, and that is where investigators say a dispute broke out. And that dispute escalating to gun violence, escalating to a shooting where a 12-year-old Zion Charles was killed, as well as 15-year-old Cameron Jackson, who died from injuries. Now the medical examiner confirmed just 4 days after the incident the death of Cameron Jackson, making him the second shooting victim in this investigation. So from there, that has led this investigation into searching for the parties responsible. And we did hear from Atlanta police that the 15-year-old and 16-year-old, whose names were not given out, but we did get their ages and confirmation that there were 2 arrests made in connection to the case. Those 2 individuals were named as shooters in this incident. So we are going to continue to follow this, echoing the words of Atlanta Police Department. This investigation is not over. There are other individuals that they believe may have had involvement that they are continuing to investigate and pursue, and that is information that we will bring you right here on Atlanta News First and the Atlanta News First app.